Welcome to the We're Good podcast, where we are celebrating the everyday brilliance of people working toward a more positive world. If you're looking for the good that's taking place around you, you've come to the right place. Our military and their families are constantly on the move, from deployments to new assignments, making it a challenge to feel at home in a new community, find employment, and take care of their families. That's where Blue Star Families comes in. Started by a group of military spouses who realized military families were in need of more support, this organization is now serving 1.5 million military family members each year. And its survey has created new awareness about the issues facing our service members and their families. Let's meet some of the Blue Star families today on the We're Good podcast. Welcome back to the We're Good podcast. I'm Lee Ann Necessary Brownlee, your host, and today we are joined by another amazing organization that is helping and serving our nation's military all over the nation, but actually right here in the Washington, D.C., DMV region as well, Blue Star Families. If you haven't heard about this organization, you really should. It is such a great organization. Joining us today, we appreciate it, Krysti Pereira and Lesley Rose. Thank you so much. Krysti, I'm going to let you give your title.
I am the program manager for the Sheila and George Casey National Capital Region chapter.
That's wonderful. And Lesley, you are a military spouse. Your husband's in the Space Force.
I am.
Thank you both so much for being with us. There may be some people, even though we are in a very heavily military, living region, that have not heard of Blue Star Families. So, Krysti, can you tell me what is the Blue Star Families organization and who does it serve?
We are a lifestyle organization that serves active duty and veteran families, anybody military connected. So the moms of active duty members, all of those siblings, everybody. If you're military connected, we really encourage you to come and check us out. We want to make sure that our military families are thriving in the communities that they live in, and it takes a village to make that happen.
And you said 138,000?
We have about 138,000 people that we serve here in the National Capital Region.
That is wonderful. That is a big scope. And one of those that got connected with Blue Star Families is Lesley. And Lesley, can you give us an idea? I love how Blue Star Families, it's a whole life military journey. When I was talking to someone, they said from boot camp to retirement and everything in between. And I looked on your website and it really is everything. I mean, it's amazing. It's Blue Star Careers, Blue Star Books, Nourish the Service. And you found out about Blue Star through a different program.
Right. So I had heard about Blue Star for a few years. I hadn't gotten involved too much. But we actually, when we moved to our last assignment, it was at the beginning of COVID. And we didn't get to meet a lot of people because everything was shut down. We had a baby. We were trying to stay healthy. So when we moved here, I was more determined than ever that we needed to connect, make connections, have friends, all those things that are good for your mental health. So I heard about the Coffee Connect program, and there was one in Arlington where we live. So I started attending with my then 1-year-old and met Krysti right off the bat and just started attending monthly. I attended more than one Coffee Connect monthly. I started participating in Welcome Week, which is a program we do every September to make new families feel welcome in the area. And I loved the mission. I loved feeling connected after so long. It had been a long time that it felt like we were isolated. So
exactly. Coming out of COVID, especially. Yeah. Tell me what a Coffee Connect is. I think I get a picture of it, but if people are listening, what is a Coffee Connect?
Well, Starbucks is kind enough to welcome us into their stores. And yeah, on a monthly basis, same month day, same second Tuesday or whatever of the month, at the same time, same place. Anyone who's military connected is welcome to join us and have a coffee, chit chat. Sometimes we have crafts. Sometimes we have kid story times involved, and we just to connect and make friends
and get to know each other.
Yeah,
and because you also found out about Blue Star through one of the programs. Was it the museum?
I found out through Blue Star Museums. We were stationed in Connecticut at the time, and I had 3 small children and was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my summer to keep them occupied, and came across this website that said that I could take them to the Children's Museum for free. And that was through Blue Star Museums. And to be able to go, a family of 4 with my husband working, so just me and the 3 kids, And it didn't matter whether we stayed 10 minutes or whether we stayed 3 hours, because I wasn't spending $50 to $100 every time we went. And it was a wonderful way for them to get out and make new friends, and enjoy some of the activities that the museums offered.
And explain to people why that is important. Of course, everyone wants to save money on, but why is it even more vital for military families to find out about these kind of resources?
I think it's just a good way to find out what's going on in the community. We partner with about 1,500 museums across the US. And so it's really easy to find a list on our website of what's local to you. And when you get out, just driving to the museum, maybe you see other things that might interest you, right? Or your kids connect with other kids.
Right.
And create that socialization that they're not getting if you're just staying at home and playing in your backyard.
Exactly. And a lot of people may not realize too, especially like in this area, a lot of people may not live on a base or on a post, right, Lesley?
Yes, very much. I mean, it's easy to feel isolated in this area with so many families living off base. So yeah, I hosted an event last week, and one of the women who attended said that she mostly gets out when she's coming to my events. Like, she's nervous about going out and driving in the area and going places where she's not going to know anyone. And that made me feel amazing that, like, we're giving people the opportunity and the comfort to be able to get out and really get to know the area that's their home.
That's wonderful. And all of this came about because in 2009, we're going to tell this story. I love this story of how Blue Star's not that old. I mean,
No.
2009.
It's
I'm going to let you,
not.
Krysti, tell about the story. It's really cool. It's a cool story.
So our CEO, Kathy Roth-Duquet, in 2009 was a spouse who saw a need with our military families and wanted to find out more. And so she created this military family lifestyle survey and put it out to some families to figure out where we needed to better serve our families. What were those pain points, right, that they were experiencing, and how could we make that change? And so our military family lifestyle survey still runs even today. It's currently open for families to take, and you can be a family member. You don't have to be active duty or a veteran to take it, because we also want to know what our families think our military families are going through. But it brings about those areas that families are struggling with. Is it healthcare? Is it spouse employment? Is it the fact that our lower enlisted aren't getting a livable wage, right? And so out of that, we're able to take those results back to our local and national government and say, hey, this is what needs to change for our families to thrive. This is a volunteer service.
That's right.
These members have the opportunity to leave at the end of their contract, and we want to retain them. And so knowing how to better support them allows our military to run more smoothly.
That is so important. And it's also, I know that some of the statistics that I heard was like that the 14.5% pay raise was after 300 hours of lobbying on Capitol Hill, but it was they were able to use the survey to go do the lobbying.
Right.
So you've got numbers, and that was really important to Blue Star to have the numbers. Right?
Yeah, we have an amazing government affairs team.
Yeah.
And they are knocking on doors and they are saying, this is what we need. And we have the data to back it up. And so a lot of our government officials are taking notice of that. And they are referencing our survey as they talk to other people about what we need.
That is so impressive. It also points out, and you can read you can read the survey online. I went in, took a look. And so, Lesley, some of the topics they were talking about were some things you and I were talking about earlier, was spouses having to relocate because military spouses their jobs don't always move with them, right? And that it takes like, I think, how many months? 18 months sometimes for somebody to find employment.
Yeah.
Can you speak to some of that in your journey? What are the statistics speaking to you about?
So I'm a stay-at-home mom at the moment, but I worked for the first 10 years of my husband's military career. And yeah, every time we moved, I had to find a new job. It was always stressful. It was a process. So it's very difficult for people, especially, I mean, when you think about licensing. I mean, I didn't have a problem with licensing or certifications that people need to have that might only be in the state they're currently in and they're going somewhere else. There are a lot of things involved with that. And when that's half your income and to lose it for a period of time every time you move and to have you move so regularly, it starts really impacting the family.
It does. And as you said, when it impacts the family, it impacts the service member,
Right.
because of their decision making.
Right.
Can we stay?
Yeah. And it's especially hard because if it's taking that long to find a job and you're only there for 2 years, how do you explain to an employer, I need a job, but I'm leaving in 6 months?
That's right.
Right. That's very tricky. Yeah, that's so true. And also as cost of living, I saw that on the survey that's a real problem that you're hearing.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially here in the National Capital Region, it is so expensive to live. And so the cost of living is not keeping up with the needs of our members. And so if you're a lower enlisted, basic housing allowance, BAH, says that you get this much money, but that might cover a service member. That doesn't necessarily cover an entire family. And so a lot of families are having to be dual income to make the payments of their bills every month.
Right. And so there are programs, Nourish the Service. There's all kinds of programs that you're seeing. And one of those that you said that's really important, it's a two-pronged approach at Blue Star, the Do Your Part initiative, and also expanding Blue Star chapters. So there's more when people are moving. So Do Your Part. Can you kind of tell me about that? Because there might be people listening right now that at this point go, okay, I know I have military family living right now. How can I help? Or businesses that are like, how can we help?
So I think as a civilian looking at your neighbors, just going and knocking on their door and saying hi and letting them know that you're there to support them, whether it's for a cup of sugar or, being the emergency contact on your kids' forms for school, right? It is, every school requires 2. When you move to a new neighborhood and you don't know anybody, like you try to figure out who's going to pick up my kids if I'm not available.
Grandparents across the country.
Right? Grandparents across the country. Right. Well, that's very true.
It's not much of an emergency contact.
No, that's right. And you have faced this, Lesley?
Yes.
Trying to think through it?
Sorry to interrupt. But yes, I generally will just put someone who's really not local because I don't have local people.
Oh, so has Blue Star helped with that connection?
Well, to what Krysti was saying, having neighbors who are welcoming, and understanding that we're starting over in our lives in a new place and don't know anyone. And it would be great to feel like, they're welcoming us is really important.
Especially if you're living in a neighborhood and they may not realize you're military, right? So, yeah.
Yeah, that connection makes all the difference every time we move. And so, especially if you have a service member who's deploying or deployed, right? Having that extra support from your neighbors when you're having a rough day and you just need somebody to take your kids for a couple hours to go play in their backyard. Or, somebody to notice that your grass is not getting cut and come over and knock and be like, hey, is there a way that I can help out? That makes us as spouses feel so supported and part of the community.
And those are little things for people to do when their spouses on the front line or deployed or wherever they are serving us, right? So that's such a great point. And then you said Do Your Part is also about sponsoring, because Blue Star has so many programs and organizations, but you can only keep it running if you have the support.
Right. We definitely need the financial support. We currently have 13 chapters across the U.S., and we're hoping to double in the next 2 years. And each of those need to be supported by an organization in order to have our programs run. And like I said earlier, it's a lifestyle organization. So we're not doing just careers or just caregivers. Each of these programs needs funding so that we can make our families feel
seen
and heard. Right.
Yeah, seen and heard. That's really at the heart of what you all are doing.
Yep.
And speaking of that, seen and heard, we all know that there is a real dedication at Blue Star with the fact that they are really looking at preventing suicide, not just within the military, but definitely at military families. And there has been an amazing push through your organization to get that word out. And the organization won an Emmy.
Yes, one of our amazing programs is Combat the Silence, and it focuses on mental health, but educating the entire family of what to look for. And so through our public service announcements, we were recognized by the National Southern U.S. Emmy organization, and were awarded one for the work that we're doing. And it was an amazing experience to get recognized.
Well, it's an amazing set of videos. It's several. It's a whole campaign.
Yes.
It's on your website. And so at the end, we'll talk about your website. But there is actually, we do want to get this out, that there is a veteran crisis line now, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you text 988?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So that's what you can text. And then, or you can chat, 988lifeline.org. So we will give all those out. We'll have those on our website as well, because that is so important. That's a whole different probably podcast in itself.
Yes.
But thank you to the Blue Star families for really making that one of your big initiatives. We hope to have help with that, help people with that. And then, of course, as I said, if someone says we're listening and we want to help, what is something that if you could share with people, if you could kind of peel back the curtain on the Blue Star families? I'm going to have both of you guys put on your thinking caps here. And if we could peel back the curtain and take a peek behind the scenes to see what really makes this organization unique that you might not see on the website. And as I said, you have a fabulous website. What would make it unique? Lesley, let's start with you first this time.
Well, we've been a military family for 18 years now. And when we started, these kinds of organizations did not exist, or at least I wasn't aware of them. I know, and Blue Star definitely wasn't around. But the longer that we've been a military family, the more it has dawned on me or occurred to me how much this is needed. I didn't have kids for the first 7 years, and now having kids and seeing what they go through, having to move and leave their friends. And I mean, we're lucky enough that my husband is not deployed regularly, but there are many families who have service members who are deployed whether there's wartime or not, just to be present in areas where they're needed. And I think having this organization to serve the families and see and hear them makes a big difference in our lifestyle.
What are some ways that you think that it has? Has it just helped you with the connection, or what would you say is the most important part?
I think for me, the connection, for sure. I'm an introvert naturally, and not all, the perfect military spouse would be an extrovert who's great at getting out and meeting people immediately everywhere they go, but that's not me. And it takes all types, right, in the military world. So for me, that's been the most helpful. But I think, our initiatives with the Nurse the Service and our outdoors programs to get people out and exploring their new communities are helpful for lots of different families.
How about you, Krysti? And you're a military spouse too.
I am a Coast Guard spouse of 26 years.
Wow, congratulations.
And
thank you for yours.
I think that people need to understand that Blue Star families, we have what's called the neighborhood. And it is our social media platform that has all of the resources, all of the specialty groups. So maybe you're a pet person and you just want to connect with other pet people. If you're into gardening or cooking, but it also has a list of all of our chapters and all of the events going on. There is information on resources that, maybe you just need support as you're doing your PCS, your move across the country.
Yeah, tell people what a PCS is.
It is a permanent change of station.
Good deal. I have some military in my family, but just in case people are listening.
Yeah.
PCS.
So it's
speak an acronym.
When your orders are up at one location and you're having to move to the next station,
right?
Is called a PCS. But all of those resources are also part of our website and our social media platform. And so when you don't know where to go for an answer, you can come to us and we will find those answers for you.
Something else you told me I thought was really cool. If you have an idea, we're here to listen.
Yeah, we're
Love
kind
it.
of a see a need, fill a need organization. And so, if you're maybe a single family or a single member and you just need to find a way to connect as well, let us know and we can kind of create some opportunities around that.
That's wonderful that you're open. And also, it's important that even if there's not a Blue Star chapter, you can still use the resources off of the website.
Absolutely, 100%.
Great.
We also have another program that's Outposts, where we have a partner organization that runs some of our programs for us. So even if we don't have a chapter, we do have an opportunity for you to connect.
Oh, that's wonderful. And are you gonna are you headed somewhere?
Yes, my family is PCSing
Okay.
in about 2 weeks to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where we have no outposts or chapters, but I'm looking at starting a Coffee Connect out there myself just to get it going and build that community.
See, there you go. It just grows. It's a ripple effect, right? Because it is so important. And it's important to let our military families know how much we appreciate what the entire family does.
Yeah,
Which is-
absolutely.
which is what
Because
Blue
if
Star
the
does.
family's not happy, the service member isn't going to stay in.
That's
Mhm.
right. Well, we appreciate all you're doing. Thank you so much for joining us today. You guys are just amazing in what you do with your families, but also with Blue Star, and we appreciate it. And we're so excited to highlight Blue Star.
Thank you so much, Lee
Thank
Ann.
you.
Thank you so much. And of course, you have as I said, great website, and that is bluestarfam.org.
That's correct.
We're going to put that on our website, we'regood.net, and so everybody can find out about it and more about the Emmy and Combat the Silence. That'll all be up on our website as well. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
And thank you, because as we like to say here on We're Good and you're good, and we can all make a difference.